Intro music. The biggest fear of switching AI tools isn't, well, it's not learning a new interface, it's the reset.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. Like if you are listening to this, you probably have a folder full of prompt templates you are just terrified of losing.
Yeah, the psychological hurdle isn't really the software. It's abandoning those workflows you've spent years perfecting.
But as of April 2026, a 2-minute memory import changes the math completely.
Yeah.
It takes your entire contextual history from ChatGPT and it just ports it straight into Claude.
It fundamentally alters the switching cost. I mean, you keep your established baselines, right?
Yeah.
You lose none of your historical context.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we are exploring a real transition.
Mm-hmm.
We are unpacking the 2026 migration guide. Our mission is mapping the shift from ChatGPT to Claude's 4-layer workforce ecosystem.
Yeah, it's a structural evolution.
Exactly. We are exploring a shift from disposable chat to a persistent, agentic operating system. By that I mean software that autonomously completes tasks based on your goals.
That is the core distinction right there.
Mhm.
It isn't just a retrieval engine anymore. It's an environment that executes complex sequences alongside you.
I have to offer a vulnerable admission here, though. I still wrestle with muscle memory from my old prompts. It's hard to unlearn.
Oh, I get that. The sunk cost fallacy makes total sense. We all built up this intense muscle memory,
Right.
We learned how to game the AI's quirks. Moving to Claude requires abandoning that strict control.
We're talking about a fundamental mindset shift, moving from micromanagement to macro delegation, basically assigning a skill and letting the system execute.
Yeah.
But I'm skeptical. Is the quality really that different, or is it just the honeymoon phase with a new tool?
The output quality is actually why people stay after they switch, especially when you hit long context reasoning tasks.
Like what?
Well, think about dumping 50 pages of meeting notes into a model. Older architectures just give you a generic bulleted summary. But Claude analyzes those structural relationships. It provides thoughtful insights that connect the dots, like deciding what you should actually do next based on those notes.
What exactly makes Claude's outputs feel more like a colleague's work?
It relies on deeper pattern recognition within its context window. It doesn't just read words sequentially, It maps your strategic intent against its foundation.
So it connects the underlying dots instead of just listing surface facts.
Precisely.
Mm.
Which changes your baseline level of trust. Once you trust it, you start handing off much heavier problems.
But this brings us to the main barrier. Since losing context is the biggest barrier to switching, how do we actually move our historical data over?
Yeah, without doing a bunch of corporate paperwork.
Exactly. Data migrations are usually nightmares. What is actually happening under the hood here?
So there's this standardized April 2026 memory import protocol. It takes 2 minutes and completely cures blank page syndrome.
Walk me through the exact sequence. How does it work?
Okay, so inside Claude settings, you go to capabilities. Then import memory. Claude generates a very specific encoded prompt.
Okay.
You take that prompt, copy it, and paste it into your old ChatGPT interface.
Wait, we're using a prompt to extract the metadata.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
The prompt forces the old model to parse everything it knows about your workflows, your preferred tone, everything. You get a summary back.
Ah, okay.
When you just paste that summary back into Claude and click Add to Memory, it maps all those vectors into its persistent storage in like 2 minutes.
That resolves the historical data. But there's a bonus step too, right? Connecting your live environments.
Yeah. You can connect Gmail and Google Docs so Claude can actually study how you write.
It's like handing a new assistant your entire diary and outbox on day one.
That's a perfect way to visualize it. It builds this write like me skill. It notes your sentence length, your cadence, and the specific jargon you use.
Does this memory transfer actually stop it from sounding like a robot?
Yeah, it does. Those reference points anchor the AI's generation. It restricts the model so it doesn't default to that overly enthusiastic robotic tone.
It gives the AI a linguistic fingerprint to match your exact style.
It really does. And once that fingerprint is established, you can actually start using the 4-layer ecosystem.
Let's map those layers out. Layer 1 is Claude Chat.
Right. Chat is your centralized thinking environment.
So it's the brain.
Exactly. You don't use layer 1 to execute tasks. You use it to clarify the parameters of the problem.
Give me a scenario where that matters.
Okay, imagine pasting 40 client intake forms into chat to extract deep pain point patterns. The golden rule here is to define the problem clearly before assigning a task.
You are mapping the minefield before you walk into it.
Yeah, you define your strict requirements in chat. That's layer 1. Then we move to the eyes, which is layer 2, Claude and Chrome.
This transforms the browser into an active work surface.
Right. But the caveat is that it's strictly Chrome-specific right now.
So it's reading the live browser data.
It lives in a persistent side panel.
Yeah.
Say you open 5 competitor pricing pages. You can have the side panel compile them all into one comparison view.
It's pulling that live data without me needing to copy and paste between tabs anymore. That's game-changing.
Totally. It's also used for email triage and building SOPs just by watching you work.
But if the browser agent is so capable, why is defining the problem in chat so critical before moving to the browser?
Because the live web is incredibly noisy.
Right.
You don't establish context, the AI might grab irrelevant data online, like ad trackers or random sidebars.
Clear direction up front prevents garbage data collection later on.
Precisely. It sets strict parameters.
Let's take a brief pause here. When we come back, we're going to move off the public web and into your local machine. Sponsor. Okay, let's unpack the offline reality. The web is covered, but most of our actual work lives off the web.
Yeah, buried in local computer folders.
Right. Which introduces layer 3, Claude Cowork.
Cowork is your local automator. It's an agent that works directly on your computer, opening apps and organizing local files.
Now, giving an AI access to my local machine sounds like a security vulnerability.
Well, it requires a localized sandbox environment. Cowork operates on your machine, but only within the perimeters you define.
Let's ground this. How does it handle something like a presentation workflow?
Say you give it access to a folder of your old slide decks. You hand it a new text outline. Cowork builds new slides matching your visual preferences using the old decks as a baseline.
This is like stacking Lego blocks of data you already own.
Exactly. Or think about a weekly Slack update. Cowork can automatically pull updates from your local project docs every Monday, summarize them, and post them to Slack.
How does it handle the privacy of scanning my local files?
It uses strictly localized permissions. You have to explicitly tell the system which specific directories it is allowed to read. It doesn't have root access.
You explicitly grant access folder by folder, keeping your private data secure.
Right. It sandboxes the execution so your core architecture remains untouched.
So Cowork automates what you already have, but what if you need to build something you don't have?
That brings us to layer 4, Claude Code. This is for building without developers.
Building custom tools. That usually intimidates non-technical teams.
But you don't need programming experience here. Code lets you build custom tools, landing pages, and dashboards using normal conversational language.
Walk me through that. Say I need a coaching landing page.
Okay, you literally just ask for the page. It built it.
Yeah.
Then you say, make it look like Apple. It rebuilds it.
Just using plain English.
Yeah. Then you say, add an email capture connected to my marketing tool. It hooks it up immediately.
Whoa, beat. Imagine building a fully functional web application just by having a conversation. No passive-aggressive Slack threads with developers.
Yeah, the friction is gone. But keep in mind, the first draft is not the finish line. The real value is in that conversational iteration.
Does this mean traditional coding is completely obsolete for basic tools?
No, not at all. It democratizes creation, sure. But developers still need to handle complex architecture, load balancing, and overarching security.
It handles the routine builds so developers can focus on the hard architecture.
Exactly. It clears the backlog so your engineers can do deep work.
This all sounds incredible, but we need a reality check. What is the actual friction when a listener sits down on day one?
Well, the overlapping names cause a lot of confusion. Chat, Chrome, Cowork, Code.
I have to say, it sounds like a corporate tongue twister. It actively makes it harder to learn.
It's objectively bad branding. Chat is for thinking. Chrome is the browser. Cowork is your desktop. Code is for building. You have to keep them straight.
What's the single biggest mistake people make on day one?
Trying to configure all 4 layers at once, they install the extension, grant folder permissions, and try to build an app simultaneously. The adoption curve just crushes them.
Trying to boil the ocean instead of just learning the chat layer first.
It's a guaranteed recipe for failure. The golden rule for week 1 is simple. Do not try to use everything on day 1. Start with the memory import and just use chat.
Let's synthesize this down to the core takeaway.
Let's bring it all together.
The biggest mistake you can make is treating Claude like a disposable chatbot. It is a 4-layer system meant to handle specific stages of knowledge work.
Right. Thinking, researching, automating, and building.
Exactly. So for everyone listening, thank you for joining this deep dive. Our call to action today is simple. Try the 2-minute memory import.
Yeah, just see your old context in a new environment.
But before we go, I want to leave you with a provocative thought.
Okay, let's hear it.
If an AI system holds your memories, perfectly clones your writing voice, reads the web for you, and automatically organizes your local files. At what point does the tool end and you begin? 2-sec silence.
Outro music.